Hello again. We're in Math to Code Part 2 for our WindChill project. I've reproduced the formula up there again. Again, if you want to be able to read that formula, which you can't read in the video, be sure to go to the web page. That's the NOAA web page that's linked in the project, and look at the formula there, where you'll be able to see not only the formula, but a big table that shows all the results of the calculations that you're going to use to check your results against what NOAA figured out. So we found the variables and constants in the previous video. What about the operators? How we're going to actually do the arithmetic required to get this result? Well, you probably already can see them. The plus and minus are clearly operators. They do the same thing in programming that they do on your calculator. Plus means add and minus means subtract. So far, so good. Are there any other hidden or implicit operators in this expression? The answer is yes. In mathematical notation, you don't have to write out every operator. If you put two things side by side, two variables side by side, like x, y, or you put a number 5 beside a variable z, then mathematicians know, and you know as a student of math, that means multiply. That's an implicit multiplication. You didn't have to write a times operator. You just knew that you needed that's what happened. You needed to multiply. When you code, you have to make everything explicit. And just putting two values side by side doesn't do anything useful for programming. You have to put an operator in between. So wherever we see math, like in this equation, like 6.6215t, that actually means 0.6215 times t, which is an asterisk, which means multiply to processing in code. So we've got to supply the explicit star operator, or the asterisk, to get that to happen. And you'll see there's several of those in the equation. That happens a couple places. Now there's one more subtlety in here that we have to watch out for. This one's a little bit more complicated, but again, it's not really very mathematical. When you see an expression like parentheses v superscript 0.16, you have to ask yourself, what does that mean? Well, that means this variable, v, is raised to a power of 0.16. It's called exponentiation. I don't know quite how that works, but you don't have to know either. All you have to know is how to translate this notation into what's required to do the calculation and processing. And in this case, there isn't an operator in processing or Java for exponentiation. There's add, subtract, multiply, divide, a bunch of others, but there's nothing for raising to a power. So in order to raise a variable, v, to a power, 0.16, we're going to use a mathematical function. And it looks like this. It says pow, P-O-W. That's the name of the function, short for power, I guess. Parentheses. And in the parentheses are two arguments. One is the variable, the base you want to raise. This is v, followed by comma, followed by 0.16. And when we put this in the resulting code from our translation of this math expression into processing, this will cause the exponentiation to happen. So when you look up in the big equation, the big scary equation, and you see the paren v 0.16 in there twice, that just means we need to use the PAL function 2 times. So now we have all the pieces that we need to translate this into code. That's coming up in the next video.